Morning, children. I hope you all are fine and also studying at home. In the previous classes, we have studied geography chapters, civics chapters. Can you guess, children, what we are going to study today? Yes, we are going to study first chapter of history. What is history? History is studying everything about past, knowing the food habits, clothing, their living standard, and everything about the people of past. You all might be knowing about the early men. Who were they? They were the first dwellers, the early dwellers of our country. So that's all we'll be studying about them and how they started living a permanent life after years and years of invention. So that is the first chapter of our history book, and the name of the chapter is What, Where, How and When. And what we are going to study in this chapter? We are going to study what can we know about the past. That is, everything we'll be studying about the past and how we know about the past. What are the sources and what are the evidences and proofs? That all we'll be studying. So let's begin with our explanation. So let's begin, children. What we'll study in this chapter? We will study what can we know about past. So what things we are going to study about past? First, we are going to study about eating habits. Next, clothing habits, housing, lives of people in different professions, and ways of recreation like the games they played, music they heard, etc. So these all topics we'll be covering in this chapter. Children, I'm trying to explain you, or I should say I will make this chapter more interesting for you through less of notes and more of pictures, so that this chapter is easily understandable for you and even more interesting by looking at the pictures. So first picture here. What do you see in this picture? Here 2 to 3 things are covered in this picture. First of all, just guess, who are these peoples? Yes, they are the early men. Now, what is behind? What is this? It is a cave. That means early men lived in caves. Now, what are these pictures depicting? They are showing that early men were hunters. They did hunting of these animals, and what all they hunted, they cooked and they fulfilled their hunger. These were the eatables, that is, they hunted, and what all animals they hunted, they cooked that animals and ate it. So here in this picture, 3 things are covered about early men. Then children, here as you see, the early man is plucking a fruit. That means they don't know how to do cultivation, farming. Whatever they found on the trees, they ate those things to fulfill their necessity. Then, as the time passed, what was all this? As the time passed, they started cooking, eating, and living a settled life like we all do today. So, this is the healthy and the nutritious food which we are eating every day in our dinner and lunch. What is all this? These are the things, children, which early men they made. did in their free time? Pots, weapons, these earthenwares, these are all made of muds. So they started doing pottery. What is all these things, children? I hope everybody enjoys these things, especially the girls. They are fond of all these things. What is this? This and this. Can you guess, girls? Yes, these are all jewelries. And I know each and every girl is fond of jewelries. So these are the jewelries which are worn and made by the early human beings. Even at that time, the ladies, they were very fond of decorating and wearing the jewelries. Then this is another interesting picture. Again, this picture is covering 2 points. First, as you see, an animal is lying dead. And what is the early man doing? He is cutting that animal, cutting for fulfilling his hunger, for satisfying his need. And the second thing, early man has used the fur of this animal to cover his body, to protect his body from cold or any season which occurred. So he used the fur to cover the body and he utilized that animal for eating, fulfilling his hunger. Then, as the time passed, he learned how to lit a fire, and also he started making weapons out of stone and even wood. Then again, as the years were passing slowly and slowly, early men started making weapons. Weapons of materials, that is stick, bamboo, whatever things they found in the jungle. They started making the weapons and even using these weapons for hunting, for killing the birds. So this is the past, and what all things we have seen, children? We have seen what all clothings they worn, what type of food they eat, where do they live, and even the games. Here, children, though they were not the toys which we have today, but still they were toys made of mud. They made the different varieties of toys and they played with those toys. So, children, these topics which we have covered today in our class, we'll quickly revise. We have studied about where do the early men lived, what did they do, what type of hunting and how they did the hunting, what all they ate, and everything we have studied about the early men today in this class. I hope, children, today's class is quite interesting by looking at various different varieties of pictures. So, you read the chapter, you go through the chapter in detail and try to understand what we have studied through the pictures. In the next class, we'll continue more of details about the early men. Till that time, good day, children. Thank you. Have a nice day.